So you got to scan yourself too.
Audience.
Hi, my name is John Erickson. I grew up in the small town of Pelican Rapids, about 40 miles southeast of Fargo-Moorhead, and I went to elementary school and high school there. Played all kinds of sports, football, basketball, and golf, and actually I was part of in my senior year we won the state championship in basketball, so that was kind of unique. After high school I went to Moorhead State University, where I took 2 years of general school. First year I was a good student, the second year I wasn't a very good student, so I decided I had to do something else, and I joined the Air Force. So I went into the active duty Air Force, and my first duty station was a school in Chanute Air Force Base that's now defunct in Chanute, Illinois, where I studied weather maintenance, which is fixing weather radars and everything on the airstrip, basically to do with weather reporting to the airplanes and so forth. After I was done at Chanute, after a year, I was stationed at Elkinberry, England. So that was unique. I got to live overseas, lived there for 2 years, and saw a lot of stuff. After the 2 years at Elkinberry, I was PCS to Tinker Air Force Base in Oklahoma City, where at that time my career field went from weather maintenance to NavAids weather maintenance. So now we basically took care of most of the airfield. NavAids tells the plane right or left of the center line of the runway, and tells the plane how to land in when you're using instruments versus visual flight. So after that I got out of the Air Force, and I went to NDSU, where I studied landscape architecture, and went there for 5 years. So I should be a doctor, but 5 years later I got a degree in landscape architecture and environmental design. After that I got hired by an engineering architecture firm called Black & Veatch out of Overland Park, Kansas, and I worked building cell towers. We built one of the first cell tower networks in the United States for Sprint, and I was in Eagan, Minnesota at the time, and I bought a house in Lakeville. And then I was sent to Georgia to do the same thing, and I ended up working on the East Coast for 7 years doing the same type of thing until I got sick of it, and I took a job in 2005 at the Air National Guard base, where I was the construction manager of the projects on base. And then a couple years later, 5 years later in fact, I took a job as an instructor in the engineering technician career field, where I instructed engineers on wartime tasks and surveying and so forth. And now recently I just took my old job as the construction inspector, but this time in the state rather than the federal capacity. So that's currently up to date. I'm married to a wife, Christy, and we live in Moorhead, Minnesota. That's about it.
That's good. Very good.
Quick, painless.